welcome back to PAC TV. This is the Wake Up Call. Joining me on set right now, I have Deputy Mayor of Port of Spain, Mr. Hillan Morean. He's also the Councillor for, I always confuse this, St. Anne's River North.
Good job. Good job, good job. They should.
How are you this morning, Hillan?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad at all.
It's been a while since I've last seen you.
Yes, welcome back.
Nice.
Some interesting times ahead for you.
I think for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not feeling like if there's a local government election around the corner though. I'm not feeling it. I don't know.
It's partly because people tend to make noise about local government issues throughout the year, but when it comes to local government elections, most of them don't come out and vote.
Yeah, we need to
there
change
seems to be
that. We need to change that.
a very kind of interesting attitude towards local government, where
It's like I don't care.
yeah, I think there's a lot of confusion about the rules of local government, and persons in particular think that MPs perform the rules of local government.
Yeah.
When it's really the local government
Yeah.
councillors,
Yeah.
and they should really pay a lot more attention to what's happening at local government level.
So their focus now would be more on general elections. It's almost as though, oh, that's local government. We don't really want to hear about this, We want to hear about general elections.
Yeah. But most of the times when you hear a lot of the complaints, it's local government issues.
A road, a drain, things in your area.
Yeah.
But what do you think can be done to better educate these people, citizens on the whole?
Well, I think quite a bit has been done so far, because you'd remember that when the current government came into office, it started a round of consultations on local government reform.
Yeah.
And they did quite a few consultations, including one at City Hall, Port of Spain, which saw a full crowd turning out and commenting, critiquing, offering their opinions and ideas. And they had quite a few others in other parts of the country, where they spoke to the value of reform. Persons who attended spoke about, wanting more transparency, wanting more accountability, more understanding, more resources for local government, and so on. So I think that's begun.
Yeah.
So what needs to be done is continuous education, so that people understand what local government is about. And I think that the election is a good chance for that. One, because on the political hustings, you'll hear persons offering their thoughts and ideas on it. And as you know, currently the reform document is being debated at the GSC level, the Joint Select Committee level. And we recently heard the former Minister, Franklin Khan, comment on that and indicate that
it would not be ready in
it's
time.
going to be likely coming out right just after elections.
Yeah.
Because the GSC is going through it, they're not rushing it, and it's something that we really look forward to. And I think the public should look forward to it, because local government issues are the key issues that people raise every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just probably in the wrong platform then, so to say. When it's supposed to be, these are some issues that they should have been talking with the councillors, the corporations, but now they actually look forward to it from the MPs themselves. So there's a bit of mix-up, I would say, in terms of what to hold your MP accountable for and what to hold your councillor accountable for.
Correct. Because the MPs, the main function and role of MPs, when you really check it, is to create and manage the country through the laws that they set in Parliament.
Yeah.
Of course, the government that's in control will manage the country as well by the cabinet. But I think people mistake the two roles quite a bit. I always listen, and it's good to see an MP, yes. But people normally say it all the time, I need to see my MP, I need to see my MP.
Yeah.
MPs have office hours, most times they make themselves available through that. But the person you're really supposed to see most of the time is your councillor. And once you have a proper system running, the councillor is supposed to take out some of these issues and even bump it up to a higher level. Whether it be issues with utilities, issues with major road networks, because that would fall under Ministry of Works. But if you don't get to see the MP or Minister of Works all the time, which is expected because they're out in Parliament treating with these situations, then you have your councillors there to at least liaise with you on the ground to get the information at a higher level. And that, to me, that's the main value of the reform that I'm seeing, in terms of empowering the councillors a lot more, so that we can deliver the services that the people really need. And that's the biggest thing for us. We don't always feel as empowered as we need to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you go to get things done,
How hard
people
is
show
it
us
for
disrespect.
you?
They will say,
I was not going to
let
ask
the
you
MP
that.
write, but you're the councillor, you know?
Is it that they don't understand? Well, I mean, I think we've just established that they don't have the knowledge how to differentiate between an MP and a councillor. So now, how are you received sometimes? Like, let's say you were to go to a community, try to talk to some people, and tempers are flaring.
No, it's based on the relationship you have with the community. So I have a great working relationship with members of my community, because I try to be as present as possible. I try to be, I always have something going on.
Yeah.
So even if I'm not walking house to house, I'm always in a community looking into matters. If persons report matters to me, I come and investigate it before I pass it on to the administration to treat with the situation. So it's really based on your relationship.
Yeah.
But we really have a lot to learn, and I think by coming on board with understanding what local government offers and having a bigger role to accepting a bigger role as residents, that we have a say, I think it helps, because quite a lot of times I often tell residents, they will see me walking up and down and then they won't tell me about an issue, and then at election time they'll see me and say, why didn't fix this wall? And I'll be like, what wall? Why didn't you show me that the wall needed to be fixed?
And
you have to communicate with me, correct?
Yeah.
So, and that happens sometimes.
All right, this is PSA TV. We are chatting here this morning with Deputy Mayor Hillan Morean. It's just about news time, so we're going to head to news right now and come back with more. Stay with us. And welcome back to PSA TV. This is the Wake Up Call. On set, I've got with me Deputy Mayor of Port of Spain and Councillor for St. Anne's River North. Hillan, what would have led you to offer yourself to serve the people once again?
Well, it's the same, I would say it's the same rationale that got me involved in the first place. Because in 2013, the then MP, Patricia McIntosh, she would have seen something in me working with her. I was actually working with her as an OJT, and then the job trainee. And she had me working with her, doing research, as well as checking up in the community, following up on projects and social initiatives. Mm-hmm. And I looked at it and I said to myself, a lot of times people look at politics and they simply say, them politicians and, but politics is one of the most important things in the world.
Of course it is.
But I always tell people one of the biggest days in a country's year is budget day.
Well, budget and elections, you're right.
No, apart from election day, but budget day is when a government determines how the country's funding is going to be spent.
Yeah.
That determination determines or guides how you eat, how you get to work, how you live your life, your quality of life, your standards. Your future, the future for your children and your grandchildren. Yeah. So to me, staying outside of politics is not necessarily the most efficient thing to do. And if you look at it, I always tell people this, if it is that we have people, or the majority of people shying away from politics, and I don't mean, you don't have to be actively involved, you just have to have a political voice. If you shy away from politics, you're going to allow a minority to dictate everything, because that minority will have the power.
And then you would not see the change that you're so against,
Correct, and it's because you're pulling away. It's not just about voting. Voting is important, but you vote and you hold to account. You vote and you maintain your political voice.
Yeah.
Because that person you voted for, when you vote for me as a councillor, and I'm not doing my job, you need to come and tell me, hey, you're not doing your job. You need to put pressure. You need to do what you need to do to ensure that this person understands that they are paying you, and they are. The taxpayers are paying us. So we really need to to understand our role, and I'm really, my goal as entering the field of politics is to try to bring or add a certain standard to the politics, because I think a lot of people, they don't see many young people involved in politics to begin with.
And that was the topic of discussion actually with the guy before, Mr. Jagger, of course, that, what can we do to make politics, to get youth more involved in politics? Because the average youth, you ask them about local government elections, they just be like, yeah, well, whatever. And I'm not voting.
What them do for me?
Yeah.
That's the normal
That's
refrain.
the first thing.
What them doing for me? And you see, when that thinking of
me,
that
is a me
individualized
alone.
thinking, if our leaders in the past, if Dr. Eric Williams decided then, way back then, you know what, I'm not going to do anything for education in this country, none of us would be at the level of education that we are right now.
That is the same thing I said. If our forefathers thought like the way some of our young people do right now, you and I would not have been here this morning.
Correct.
We would not have had so many amenities, so many just basic things.
Correct. And yeah, we have a lot of work to do, and there's debate as to how funding could have been spent and how resources could have been had. But one of the things that we need to understand is that this place is a beautiful place. And it's the way it is because, apart from the fact that we've been blessed with certain resources, we have people from a diverse background who bring to this country a set of diverse traits that make us a better place. And it's really up to us now to kind of pull that together. And last time I was here, remember we spoke about all the different things. We spoke about race, politics and all that. And we need to try to shy away from that. A lot of people are turned away, I believe, from the race talk in politics.
And speaking of that, I saw you all held a Diwali function recently.
Yes. Oh, the one in Gonzales.
That was, to me, that was something beautiful.
Yeah. Well, did you know actually Gonzales in Port of Spain, in Lavantil, is the home to the highest Hindu mandir in the
I did not
country.
know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most of our viewers aren't aware of that.
And they have a nice community inside of there, and they try to do activities, and this year they came out to us for support, and we gave some light assistance, and we told them they came a bit late, but we still wanted to make sure to facilitate them, you know, and it was really lovely, and they did a nice lighting up in the area. And
it was beautiful, it was beautiful. And again, it ties into what you're talking about, you know, bringing people together for the betterment of our country, and not just for, it's not benefiting me, I'm not going to do it. I feel like the change needs to be pushed from the youths up, and that's why you're in that position now.
Yeah, let me tell you how bad this individualism is sometimes. I remember this gentleman, an old guy, he's about 75, came to me. Councillor, the drain here need to clean, and we need to fix the drain and this, that, the other. So I saw the problem, took it to the corporation, and the corporation decided, okay, they'll put a small project in there to treat with it.
Yeah.
Now this gentleman is retired, gets his benefits and so on. And they came and they said, okay, we'll take about 10 guys who are in the area who are unemployed and do a small project that's to clear this stuff. He was so upset with me.
Why?
Because he wasn't employed on the project.
Oh, wow.
Everybody else who was put on the project was
So perhaps
unemployed.
his reason for telling you this was
probably to get something done. But at his age, and also with the fact that you have so many unemployed other persons, he was angry with me that he didn't get put on to work.
Wow.
Even though he's probably out of all of them, he's getting some benefits. And this is what happens. And a lot of times, if you do stand your ground and maintain a certain standard with people, because there are people who, I recognize from the day one as a councillor, you're not going to keep everybody everybody's not going to view you as your friend or in the nicest way. Because when you tell them they're wrong about something, unless they're mature enough to accept that, you know what, I was really wrong, they're not going to vote for you.
Is it responsibility? Is a hell of a thing, huh?
It is. And you have to manage it. I've had situations with neighbor fighting neighbor, and I can't choose a side. I have to do the right thing. So there are some cases where one neighbor vexed me, the next neighbor happy with me because the outcome was in their favor. But I didn't say I favor this neighbor over this neighbor. Follow through with the process, and you really have to try as best as possible to really work with people. And it's a challenge. It really is a challenge. But I love local government. It's down there with the people.
Yeah.
It's down there with the experiences that they
literally
have.
in everything.
Yeah. It's sometimes very emotional because you deal with people on levels where they come out here at their weakest as well.
Yeah.
Just last night when I walked in, and there's this young lady in my area who going through a bad situation right now where she just had a child and the child's father has left her. And last time I saw her, she's lost so much weight, and it's just because she's under so much stress, and she just wants me to see what I can do to help her. While these things don't necessarily fall under our ambit, because I've seen that situation, I'm trying to see what I could do now to put on to different agencies for assistance, get us some help. Because, and this is arising out of a personal situation, but it's people they're dealing with. You have to deal with them on their level, you know. And once the state resources can be brought to bear to help people, I think that is real local government. When you could transfer help to those who need it the most vulnerable, that is true local government.
What would you say is something that you you set out to do while you were councillor? Well, you're still sitting councillor, but while there, but you haven't done it yet?
That's an interesting question because there's always work to be done. A lot of the infrastructure projects that I've sought to do, I've achieved them. There are one or two massive ones that are either in progress or I am lobbying for still. Because some projects that we try to get done, they fall outside of the remit of the funding we get. So we try to get Ministry of Works or another major ministry that has the funding to come in and assist us. So I have one or two projects of that nature, but most of the major projects I've gotten them done. A major thing that I'm continuously working on and trying to find a way to make it work is to bring more re-education and development programs into the community. Now the sad reality is particularly in the East Port of Spain areas, because of this legacy of borders and social issues that create fractions and divisions. This one cargo here, that one cargo there. We have a whole tech work learning facility at the Eastern Main Road in Lamantil that is equipped and provides, if you see how much programs. And I remember talking to Minister Hines, MP Hines recently, and he told the story of this young girl from Manzanilla. She came from Manzanilla every day for her course. But you can't get the guys in the area to go sometimes because if they go here, the guys who they win with on this next side might kill them.
Yeah.
And that is something that, as much as we might want to try and help, people in the communities have to also come out of that morass that they're in. They need to understand that. I speak to a lot of guys all the time about especially some of the ones who getting themselves in trouble. And I tell them simply, think about all your friends who could have been here right now, and where they would have been. Think about their families, homes growing up without a father. And
it's a cycle.
Almost like
it'll be a cycle.
It's like a community drain. It's like a resource drain in communities of both, especially young men who have been killed or maimed or forced to flee. And it's definitely something that, yes, government is trying their best to fix with their different rules, programs and so on, but it also requires a fix from within these communities. And I try my best to kind of reach them on a certain level to guide them, but you can't take a house of water and force it to drink.
Very true.
Persons have to accept that I want this for myself.
Yeah.
Because if you have to force them through everything, then you have to continue to force them through everything. They're not doing it for their benefit, they're doing it because you say to do it. And I want a lot of these young people to see what they're doing as what I want to do because it's good for me, not because the council says so.
Yeah.
Not because I might get something after the council put me on to do this program, but because by going to this course and learning this skill or this trade, I could, if I don't get a job, I could offer to the neighbor to do electrical, to do tiling, and then maybe I could form a little company, and maybe from there I could branch off into other things. But it's a challenge, but it's one that we really committed to, and that's local government, working with people to get things done, to help them, to grow them, but it's twofold.
How is the swimming pool?
Swimming pool in Amtel, it's excellent
The
actually.
operational,
I went up
functional?
There. It's functional, it's going great. I went up there 2 weeks ago. I don't go often because of time. And what I love about it now, because when the pool opened in July, you had an influx of young people. Because of course it was the school holidays, right?
Yeah.
So young children, all the classes were booked out. They had to create more classes for the children for the little swim program. But what I love about it now is that in the morning period where they have the aquafit, the aqua aerobics part, the elders, the 50 plus, 50 years plus are coming out and they're doing the aqua aerobics for their fitness and their health.
I know water therapy is something that they always recommend.
Correct. I'm in the water doing water therapy the other day, and some of them, if you see them, and they're feeling good.
Yeah.
They're residents who I normally see all over my community just locked up in their homes who made us go to the health center, and you're seeing them now coming up the road. So you're getting more community involvement. you're getting a focus on health and wellness, and you're getting a whole increased community camaraderie. And to me, that's a wonderful thing. And, you know, I remember there's a gentleman in my area who has osteoarthritis. He could barely walk. Well, he can't walk right now, but at a point he could barely walk. And they told him he needed to do therapy in a pool. And he just couldn't afford to go because he has to hire a car to take him either to Flying Fish or YMCA or whatever.
Yeah. And
he just can't afford it. And now he could go up to the Delmata pool. It's free. Go up to the pool, and I mean, that's not say free. No cost to them, because there's always a cost. But it's no cost to the residents or any participants who come in. It's a lovely, safe space, and they get a chance to improve their health and wellness. And to me, that's one of the biggest takebacks from that investment into Laventille. It's giving, you know, Minister Diasing speaking about the NCDs, non-communicable diseases, and the high prevalence, and we really have to find some way to cut that down so that people won't be going to the hospital as often because of these NCDs. And this is one of the ways. So I'm happy.
When we look at jobs, we've seen that youth unemployment has skyrocketed once again in this country. What can be done, in your opinion, to create more jobs in this country?
Okay, well, I do have all these statistics on the youth unemployment. But what I would say is the diversifying of the economy and the attempts taking place right now.
So much, huh?
Right, but and again, we go back to what I said earlier, was the most important day, one of the most important days in our country's day is Budget Day. And in Budget Day, you see all that, you hear and see all a lot of the plans being offered. And, you know, quite often we hear talk about opportunities for agriculture. And I look at this budget and I see so many opportunities created for agriculture. But I've seen some criticism of it, yes. But at the same time, you'll always get criticism.
Yeah.
But I've seen advancement in the programs that they're offering for persons to get involved in agriculture. For example, there was some budget that spoke about how to get more persons involved in tourism. So there have been attempts to kind of push and encourage that expansion of the diversity in the economy. There's also been a major push. YTEP is currently doing some entrepreneurship programs and development programs of various forms. And the reason for that is because not everybody can attain a job in a government place, for example. And that's the ideal thing for everybody. Everybody wants a government job. But not everybody will get a government job. It's just impossible. Currently, the country is at about 70% capacity in terms of government employment. And when you look at that in terms of smaller and developing states and the assessments of them, 70% is a dangerously high number because of the fact that if you have any risks and shocks to that system, as we did with the major fall in the prices of oil recently, where you went from having the power to spend $100 and it went to 23. It meant that where you have opportunities where you have, like, for example, short-term employment or contract employment, where you will lose opportunities to renew these positions or carry them forward. And that's how quite a lot of people did not get to continue in certain places of employment, simply because they didn't have the funding for it. At the corporation level, funding is so tight that we've been focusing on this making sure people get their salaries. You work at my company, I don't have my boots, I don't have my gloves, but we're making sure you get your salary to go home with. You know, so how can we create more? It's really just trying to focus more on those entrepreneurship activities and trying to encourage people to utilize the resources that we have around us. I think agriculture is definitely a big part, has a big role to play. Even in my community right now, we have a community garden that we're operating for the past 2 years.
Okay.
Being supported by the Volunteer Center of Trinidad and Tobago. Excellent initiative. There's one in Picton that I saw recently in the news as well. So there is a role for agriculture, at least even on a local scale.
Yeah.
If you could produce for yourself locally and provide to the community, you're making an income and you're making it off the land. And that's just one of the ways, of course. And then there are new techniques for agriculture, hydroponics and so on. You have grow box farming. You have even the hydroponic systems where you don't even need to have land space. Once you can have space to put it and run vertical systems, for example. So there's a lot of room for growth. And I think sometimes we need to think a little bit outside the box. I think sometimes in Trinidad, because we've been so used to having, we don't know how to not
create.
have. So we do create. You know, and they say, what is it? Is it creation is a necessity of, what is it, that saying that they have, necessity is the mother of all creation. When you need, that's when you really come up with the concepts and ideas. And because I have friends all over, you know, from that our UA experience. I have friends in Jamaica, and they tell me, listen, and when I look at when they see what we have here, they're like, wow, you all get so much from your government in terms of social services. I'm looking at what's going on in other places. In terms of what people are protesting for, and it's real because they don't even have the kind of social security network that we have here, and it's something that we really need to be thankful for. But at the same time, we need to prepare for what if those days things get worse.
Yeah.
You know, and we need to be a little more creative, and we have to remember that by being creative, we now push the government into a certain perspective. Hey, you know, I'm noticing more young people getting involved in agriculture. Let's put more things to support them. There's a young man, went to as well, Alpha Senan. Y Farm is his organization.
Jamil.
Jamil. I don't know Jamil, I know Alpha.
Okay, yeah.
But Alpha goes around the world preaching about the value of agriculture.
Yeah.
And I'm on board with him. But we need more people like him spreading that story, creating these systems. And I think that will push government policy now towards, hey, this is how we could get it done. And that's the value of youth involvement in certain activities. I love what Alpha is doing, and I really hope that it can expand. And these are the kind of opportunities and programs that we need. But it also comes from people having a willingness to invest in it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I was saying earlier in our show as well, you know, gone are the days where people think of agriculture as this ugly, big, tall, boots looking kind of thing. You know, we've slowly, you could have a farm and I could be like this and I could be in a farm.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to look a certain way or whatever it is. But moving along now, because I know we're kind of pressed for time, the Chinatown.
I had a feeling you were going to talk about that tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I have to. You know, there was some backlash. You had some criticism. Some applauded it. You know, how are you dealing with everything?
You will always have people just saying things, right? And that's fine.
But I mean
because
to say, the spelling of the word itself, you know.
No, that's something that came from that was imported through the embassy.
So nobody looked at it before they put it up.
I guess they made that's a minor matter.
Okay.
It's being addressed. It's really a source matter from China because they brought it straight from China.
Okay.
So it's really a source matter. Maybe they didn't order the right thing, but they're fixing it now. I think it's going to be addressed in a matter of days. So that's really minor. That's the spacing of the words. They'll bring it together. And again, that speaks to what we like to talk about everything. And I'm saying, yes, we saw that as an issue, but that will be dealt with. But the value of Chinatown, and I saw so many people criticizing, and then I was saddened by how some of the comments of some of the Chinese responding to it because they felt like, why are you coming down on us? We've done nothing. All we've done is come here and done our work. And if you look at the legacy of the Chinese in Trinidad and Tobago, especially in that East Port-of-Spain area, especially on Charlotte Street, they have, I believe it's 5 Chinese associations.
Most of them.
5 on Charlotte Street alone. 4 within the catchment that the Chinatown arches are in. And when you talk to people about the Chinese heritage, the people used to go and trust by back in the day, the Chinese. Just the other night I was at a wake and talking to somebody about it, and the people in the areas they're cool with it because they know, especially the elders, they know the legacy of the Chinese in East Port-of-Spain and particularly Charlotte Street and environs, Charlotte Street, Nelson Street, George Street, etc. And all the various establishments that they used to have in the past. And a lot of people don't know this. But I remember when I was at UE and we had a report on something. There was a report on the Black Power movement in 1970 and how that impacted the Chinese. Because the Black Power movement, remember, focused on the elitism at the time, and which would have been pervaded mostly by the descendants of colonial whites. But Chinese were viewed as off-white. They were prosperous, and many of them now, because of that branding, they suffered. So several of them left the country, shut down their businesses and left the country. So that's why we don't have that. It's not as prevalent as before. But I had to say this, make this point the other day to somebody. In history, when you read about the Chinese are everywhere. Their culture is pervasive. This opportunity with our twinning of the city of Shanghai in China and the city of Port of Spain, Shanghai is one of the largest, most successful cities in the world. Us partnering with them could only bring benefits to us because China's already here. They're already here within our space and culture. This provides some opportunities for us to benefit. We've proposed to the city of Shanghai for their, as part of the deal, that we want to boost trade, boost opportunities for tourism, meaning working with them to get a lot more of their persons coming here to visit Trinidad and Tobago. And when they come to visit, where are they going to visit? Chinatown.
Very true.
Right? If you look at the world politics right now, there's a drastic drop in Chinese visits to the USA. Because the Chinese like to visit the Western cultures to see what's like. But because of the relations between Trump and China at this time, they're moving away from USA. Yeah. That provides an opportunity for them to come to Trinidad and Tobago so that they can enjoy our tourism. Further to that, there are economic benefits. There are quite a few business persons doing work with China already. We want to see if we could push and enhance that a bit more. There's a lot of craze in China for a lot of preserved fruits, as you know. And we are the home of fruits.
Yeah. So
we could create some opportunities there where we could get some stuff across to them to treat with that. We also are looking at the cultural aspect of it. China has World Economic Forum every year, massive, millions of people. And we are talking to them to see, hey, how can we get our culture in that? How can we get Trinidad and Tobago involved in that so that it's before the world in a big way? And even in the area of sports, how we could partner with them for sports development. How can they look at taking some of our young footballers across to China to play in the Chinese Super League? That's benefits. Yeah. That's what we're working on. It's not been finalized yet, but these are some of the things that we're working on. And of course, working with them and gaining technical advice on how to treat with certain major issues that affect cities. We're growing as a country, and there's nothing wrong with partnering with others who have grown long before us. China has a storied history, and if you look at the story of Shanghai in particular, you see how much they've grown as a city from where they were 50 years ago, with a much smaller population, to where they are now, with an increased level of diversity, increased level of efficiency, and economic growth.
All right, so we are slowly running out of time.
No problem.
So I'm going to ask you your closing comments.
My closing comments are really just to reach out to the population to tell them, have your say in this upcoming local government elections. I didn't wear my red today, but you know, if red is your color, okay, cool. Whatever your color is, come out and support. Local government is about people, and if people don't come out to support local government, then you know. So come out and support, and hold your councillors, hold your reps to account, hold us to account, and that's the only way you'll really see an improvement in local government. If you give us that support, and two, you hold us to account. And that's what I remember that being as part of the major part of the consultations. Accountability, people want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I simply, when I walk my around and tell people what's going on, they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And they appreciate that you share with them at least, you know? Yeah. So people understand, we need to stop taking people for granted and feel that they don't understand what's happening. You can't probably show them. You can't probably show them, but you need to at least explain to them what's going on. And sometimes in sharing with them, they give you ideas. You know, I've gotten most of my inspiration for activities, in fact, all projects. I don't just decide I want to pave a road or pop a wall here or fix a drain. No, you tell me, we need this, I bring the engineers, we measure it, and I say thanks for your advice. It's not me. My role is to see your ideas come to life. And that's it. So come out and vote on December 2nd. I'm offering myself in the district of St. Andrew and North in the Port of Spain Corporation under the People's National Movement, and look forward to your support.
All right, so there we have it. The Deputy Mayor of Port of Spain and also the Councillor for St. Anne's River North, Mr. Hillan Morean. Hillan, thank you so much for coming on this morning. A pleasure as always. I know what you're going to say. Are you going to leave the Union public with something nice? Something nice? Yes. Yeah, well, we have you, so we're going to end on No. So this is where we're going to head to a short break and come back with more. Stay with us.